With its signature curve, unique rear-mounted controls, and vibrant flamenco red paint job, the LG G Flex 2 is one of the most distinctive Android smartphones on the market today. But it's more than just a showboat. It's also a testbed for the newest silicon from Qualcomm, and for now, it's LG's top-tier smartphone. I'm Michael Fisher. Let's find out if the G Flex 2 belongs in your pocket now. Like its 2013 forerunner, the G Flex 2 is a boastful smartphone, and not just in terms of the person likely to buy one. From the 700 radius Full HD OLED display, to the curved 3000 mAh battery, to the high-density advanced self-healing coating on the back, and the chemically enhanced Gorilla Glass 3 on the front, this is LG showing off its manufacturing prowess, and it's an incredibly effective showcase from the second you pick it up. While it's a little lightweight for my taste, I still find the G Flex 2 one of the most comfortable smartphones on the market because it makes very smart use of its curved construction. While other phones use flexible displays to enhance the user interface, LG focuses on making the phone itself more ergonomic. It hugs the cheek during voice calls. It conforms to the palm during one-handed use. It makes movie watching and gaming ever so slightly more immersive. And as it's smaller than its predecessor, it's also more pocket-friendly. The curve is pronounced enough to make it perfect for back pockets, but not so pronounced as to be uncomfortable in the front. And if you're worried about bending it with your skinny jeans, don't be. True to its name and its forerunner, it flexes by design when stressed. Combine the curvature with the rear key, which sits right on the sweet spot for a finger, and the double tap to unlock and lock feature, and you get a phone that's as fun to use as it is to look at. A rare double win in a market that often makes you choose between one or the other. Even the glossy, static cling dust magnet finish is forgivable here, because it needs to be glossy to make its self-healing technology work. We'll cover that more thoroughly in a future piece. And the phone's high technology isn't confined to the exterior. Beneath the spin hairline finish sit 2 gigs of RAM on our demo device. A 3 gig model is also available, and you can choose between 16 or 32 gigs of storage, with microSD expansion up to 2 terabytes. The real star of the smartphone is one of the world's newest processors, Qualcomm's 64-bit 8-core Snapdragon 810. This is the next generation of Qualcomm silicon, and based on reports we've seen around the web, its performance on big, chunky reference hardware is very good. But, like fate, miniaturization is a cruel mistress. Within the confines of the G Flex 2, the Snapdragon 810 doesn't have as much space to dissipate heat, so some pretty aggressive thermal throttling kicks in. That means the phone runs very slowly at times. Now, while there's been a lot of back and forth in the press about the severity of these temperature issues, that's too broad an issue to tackle in this video. All I can do is tell you what it feels like to use this phone in the real world, and on our unit, the answer is not great. The combination of the new processor with Android Lollipop means there's more lag, stutter, and hesitation in the G Flex 2. It's not just animations. Sometimes even a simple text-based website is enough to slow the built-in browser to a crawl, and often that performance lag goes hand in hand with a big dive in battery life. Even at half-screen brightness with no other apps running in the task manager, I once watched the G Flex 2 lose 20% battery in less than an hour, when I was doing nothing more strenuous than reading a newspaper website with almost no graphics. Strenuous games, like Asphalt 8, do play smoothly, but only once you close other running apps first. These performance issues only get worse if you're running an app like Spotify or Google Maps navigation in the background. On a budget device, I might consider that an acceptable trade-off. On a very expensive flagship, I don't. There's no reason to think these problems can't be solved in future hardware releases or with improved software, and in fact, LG has released this statement to that effect. So, to be clear, we will retest the G Flex 2 in its North American trim when it arrives. But there are some specs which won't be changing when it comes to America, so we'll use them to help decide whether to recommend the phone as a daily driver. The 5.5-inch display is a marked improvement over the 6-inch panel of the first G Flex, with Full HD resolution and none of the burn-in issues that plagued the earlier phone. There's still a bit of a textured quality to grays and whites. They bear a slightly mottled look that's been compared to wet newspaper, but it's much better than it was on the first Flex, and it's only noticeable in some lighting conditions. As I mentioned before, using the G Flex 2 feels a lot like using the G3. The stock keyboard is excellent, with a persistent number row, adjustable height, and precise cursor positioning. Knock code remains a pretty quick and convenient way to secure the phone, and I still love the option to toss in a shortcut at the bottom to trigger the notification shade. Glance View is new with the G Flex 2. Just tap and drag on the screen to display the time and your notifications, and it works well. Other features are more disappointing. Dual Window is here again to let you run apps side by side, but its app compatibility continues to lag behind Samsung's multi-window. LG's Smart Notice personal assistant still isn't as versatile or as useful as Google Now, and you can also switch over to Google Messenger or your SMS app of choice if you don't want to put up with the comical graphics of the stock offering. But if you do, you'll miss out on the full window popover notifications. Whether that's a plus or a minus is up to you. Also familiar from the G3? The camera. The viewfinder is almost identical, and so is the hardware. An optically stabilized 13-megapixel camera with laser-assisted autofocus. Jumping into the camera to snap a shot is as easy as holding down the volume key, and focus times are indeed very fast thanks to that laser. The results produced are, well, pretty average. The autofocus is fast, but it's not immune to drifting. A few of the outdoor photos I took don't seem to have a defined focal point, possibly because blowing snow confused the camera. Most outside shots are nice enough, though, with the kind of crisp detail and high quality I expect from a high-end smartphone camera in 2015. But saturation is a little on the low side, and that problem gets much worse indoors. This fire extinguisher is much more red in real life than the pinkish hue displayed here. Same with the red LED on this communicator, which is so washed out as to look almost white. There's also quite a bit of digital noise in medium to low light if you do any zooming at all. Most of these were shot at 10 megapixels with widescreen settings, but even amping it up to the 13 megapixel maximum, that strange oil paint look just doesn't go away. LG makes much more noise about the 2 megapixel front-facing camera here. Shooting selfies with a fist pump is now easier to do, and it's also easier to immediately review the results. You just bring the phone closer to your face or down to chest level and it'll automatically jump into the gallery. The pictures themselves suffer from the same processing distortion as the main shots, but they're certainly serviceable as far as selfies go, with a wide enough frame to fit all your friends in, and a beauty face slider to tame your acne or overgrown facial hair, while sort of making you look like a wax figurine. Finally, let's get the phone out of our face and up to our ear. Testing it on T-Mobile US over the course of 6 days in the greater Boston area, I found voice quality on par with the competition, and also got no complaints about the way I sounded from the other side. Again, the curved construction makes talking on the G Flex 2 more comfortable, more natural to those old schoolers who grew up with banana phones. The speakerphone is unfortunately hidden away around back, and not as loud as some I've tested, but it's loud enough for the occasional call, game, or YouTube video. And the included QuadBeat 2 earbuds offer pretty nice sound for an in-box headset if you want to privately listen to your media instead. So the G Flex 2 comes home with a somewhat mixed report card. It utterly dominates as a showboat. There's no smartphone that combines great looks with a comfortable build and innovative materials like this. But as a showcase for the Snapdragon 810, it stumbles, no doubt due to that very chip. It throttles itself very quickly and very often, and the resulting lag is frankly very frustrating for such a very expensive device. So as a daily driver, it's only half recommendable at this point. We'll let you know if that changes in a follow-up video review when the US versions land, hopefully later this season. If you're looking for details on benchmarks, battery life, camcorder mode, and more, be sure to check out our full review at Pocketnow.com, linked in the description below for your convenience. And please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. Till next time, this has been Michael Fisher with Pocketnow, Captain Two Phones on Twitter, reminding you that you don't need beauty face. You're great looking, just the way you are. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.